Okay, this is a continuation from the understanding financial information as a form of internal control. This method is referred to as break-even analysis. So in this, we will understand or review, because we have looked at this before, what is break-even analysis, calculate break-even analysis, and explain how it is internal control. So when we're looking at this one, break-even point is where we see total revenue equals total cost. Okay, no profit being made and no loss being made. Now, what's important to remember is that if a company finds itself at the break-even point, this is in fact a very good place to be, because all your costs are being paid off. It ensures that your survival is guaranteed, and this is very often, particularly for organisations starting out, this is a very significant point that they're aiming to be at. So if they're not making a profit, if they are making a profit, it literally means their revenue is more than their total cost. So when we're talking about the break-even point, we are in fact referring to a number of goods or services being sold. So when you know if your break-even point is, say, 10 products to be sold, you know that as soon as you start selling the 11th one, that starts increasing your profit levels, and that's where you start making a profit. However, if you are below that break-even point, you know that you are making a loss, and therefore it may compromise your ability to survive or sustain yourself economically. Okay, so the importance of the break-even figure gives indication for organisations to know what level of production and sales are needed, so therefore they can employ their resources in the correct manner. So it can also give information should they need to request for a loan or some sort of financial injection from maybe banks or investors, and therefore also predict changes if prices are increased or decreased. One thing to understand is the way that we calculate it is obviously our costs and our revenue, which comes from our prices as well. However, these things don't stay the same. They very often will fluctuate. So therefore, at break-even point, if we know what the figure is, we've got an indication as to what we can work to. That figure might have to change because costs may go up or may go down. The price, you may be able to charge more or even charge less to be competitive. So it is, it's a fluid figure. It's a very important figure, but it can change. It's not always set in stone. So the way in which we work out the break-even figure, probably the quickest way to work it out is just to come out with a formula. So the formula, very simply, is our fixed costs divided by our selling price, take away our variable costs. Now, just a quick one to note, our fixed costs are all those costs in our costing structure that don't change. So that might be rent, that could be the utilities, those sort of things that don't really change dependent on how much you produce. Our selling price is quite obvious, it's the price that we're obviously selling to our customers. Our variable costs, on the other hand, though, these are the opposites, the fixed costs. These are the ones that do go up and down, but they go up and down according to how much you produce. So, for example, materials to make a product. If you are making no products, you will not require any materials. That's a zero cost. If you're making 10 products, you're going to need 10 materials for 10 products. So that is obviously going to incur a cost. So the important thing to understand is that these selling price and variable costs below, these need to be worked out first. So really that should have a bracket there. Okay, so for example, if it was $400 as our fixed cost, $750 is our selling price, and our variable cost is $250, that would mean that we would come out with 80 units that we would have to sell. Now, dependent on the type of thing that you're selling, you can see, right, is that a realistic target? Is it an unrealistic target? Okay, looking at the time frame that you've got, is it realistic? Is it unrealistic? So it puts into perspective that achievement, that ability to be able to achieve this sort of area. So in constructing our understanding of break-even, to come up with these figures, there are some calculations we might need to work out beforehand. So for each formula, really, so we very much want to know about our revenue. So the way that we work out revenue is price times the quantity. Our fixed cost, this tends to not really change. The only thing that we need to maybe calculate is maybe how it's to add fixed cost up across a monthly period. So if our fixed cost is $100 and we've got it for 3 months, $100 per month, that is obviously $300. But it should be quite simple because it doesn't change. On the other hand, our variable cost, this would be given to us. So if we have a selling price of $10, we would be told, for example, that $7.50 may be the variable cost. And the way that we work out that total variable cost is a variable cost per unit, so that might be $7.50 multiplied by the quantity of units that we are producing. That will give us our total variable cost. Our total costs, on the other hand, if we look at this one, is our fixed cost plus our variable costs. And if we were to come up with an analysis across lots of different production levels, this sort of information is what we're going to require. Okay, so by looking at this one, okay, our break-even graph, we would. Okay, so from this information here, we can therefore calculate our break-even cost. So that would obviously be our this fixed cost figure here. Okay, divided by our selling price, taking away 375, which would leave us 125. So that will come out of a figure. Now, what we can do is calculate it, and we can also create a chart illustrating the different prices of revenue that we're going to be receiving across different production levels against the total cost levels. Okay. Now, what's important to understand is that this will be used as an internal control in lots of different ways. Not only does it just give us that key figure which acts as a target, but it will give us an identification of the level of production required at certain points, which gives us an idea as to how far away we are from making a profit, how far we are away from making a loss, etc. So our break-even point is a very significant form of control.